All right, today is all about the bench press. We're going to go over 5 tips that will help you dial in this movement. Okay, first we're going to cover what our feet are doing while we're bench pressing and how our feet helps us create the stability that we need to bench press some big weight. So as you get set up on the bench, you lay back. Now before I even touch the bar or do anything else, the first thing that I'm going to think about is establishing a strong foundation with my feet. Okay, now there's a couple different ways that you can do this. I prefer to have my full foot on the ground and my ankles are a little bit wider than my hips. Some people you'll see will tuck their feet underneath them. Okay, this is just a preference here, but really what you want to do is find a solid position for your feet, somewhere that you can drive through the ground and create tension throughout your legs while you're bench pressing. Again, this is where all of our stability comes from. Okay, if you've ever tried benching with your legs straight, you'll notice you have no stability here. Okay, so we need to use our legs to help us create a solid foundation and something that is going to help us create that stability that again is going to lead to benching big weight. Okay, next we're going to cover how to engage all of the back muscles to create that solid foundation on the bench that we need to bench some big weight. Okay, so you get set up on the bench, you lay back, you set your feet, okay, just how we talked about. Now from here, okay, I'm hoping you guys can see the space between my back and the bench. But the easiest way that I've found to set up like this and to explain this is I want to drive off of the back of my head, okay? So what I mean by that is I press my head into the bench, I drive into it, so my whole back right now, none of my back is touching the bench, okay? So what this does, it gives me the space to pinch my shoulder blades back behind me, to slightly rotate my shoulder blades forward here, and I set those shoulder blades back down on the bench, and I want to maintain this position and all of the tension in my back muscles the whole time, okay, throughout the full set. Now our back is the foundation of our bench press, just how our feet is the foundation of our squat, okay? The back is the foundation of the bench press. So if we don't have tension in our back, everything else is going to be thrown off. Now, not sure if you can see, but there is a slight arch. There's space here between my back, my lower back, and the bench. We want that arch. We don't want to be flat. We're not very strong here, okay? So think of this almost like a spring, okay? You load the spring up. That's what we're doing here. We drive off the back side of the head. We pinch the shoulder blades. We rotate the shoulder blades a little bit underneath us. I establish that foundation, and I maintain it throughout the full bench press set. Okay, next we're going to cover what the upper arm is doing while we're bench pressing, and related to that, how engaging our lats, this big muscle right here that runs from the top of the armpit all the way down to the lower back, how engaging those muscles, again, helps us create a solid foundation and bench a lot more weight, okay? So upper arm wise, easiest way to think about this is in relation to the body, we want the upper arm to create an arrow shape, okay? So if our torso is here, we want the upper arm creating an arrow shape. So all that means is that my elbows are pointing about a 45-degree angle away from my body, okay? So we don't want a T shape here, okay? We don't want an I shape where we're super tight here, okay? We want to be somewhere in between, okay? Now, related to that is engaging those lats. What creating that arrow shape does with the upper arm in our body is it puts us in the proper position for us to engage those lats and use those while we're bench pressing, okay? So the easiest way to think about this is when we grab the bar here in just a second, we want to create that tension on the bar with our hands. We want to think about bending the bar this way, okay? So I'll show you what I mean. We'll set our feet, we drive off of our head, we pinch our shoulder blades, establish that foundation with the back. Find your grip. Most people prefer a little bit wider than your shoulders. Make sure your hands are even. Now from here, watch the tension that I create on the bar. The easiest way to see this is watching my elbows, okay? So right now my elbows are pointed out towards the side, but I want to create that tension of bending that bar this way, okay? And that's what's going to help us engage those lats. So watch what my upper arm does during these few reps, okay? So look, should be creating close to an arrow shape, okay? And I'm maintaining that tension on the bar. I'm not just loose here. I'm maintaining that bending pressure on the bar, which is engaging my lats the whole time, okay? Again, we don't want to be in a T way out. This is no good for the shoulder. We don't want to be super close here, okay? We're not very strong here. One more, we bend the bar here. Elbows are about a 45-degree angle from the body, and then we press back up. Okay, next we're going to discuss what the bar path should look like while we're bench pressing, okay? Most people think that the bar path is just a straight up and down line. okay? And that's not necessarily correct. So I'll show you what I mean. We want the bar path to almost make a small curve this way, okay? So instead of pressing straight up and down, we want to think about the bar starting right above the chest, going right below the sternum, and then pressing that almost forward towards our head, okay? So set our feet, drive off the head. We establish our whole backside here, okay? We engage the lats, and that's related, actually. Engaging the lats is related to what this bar path should look like. So find your grip, pick the bar up. Now, bar path wise, the bar path should look like this. We bend the bar this way. The bar path goes slightly towards our feet on the way down, and then I press that back up towards my head. Okay, so a couple more times. From here and back up. Okay, one more, here and back up. So rather than just straight up and down, straight line here, we should have a small arch. So last one here, I bend the bar, okay, down towards my sternum, and I press it back up towards my head. Okay, now we're gonna cover how using our legs during the bench press is gonna help us bench more weight, okay? So a lot of people think that the bench press is just an upper body exercise. Now, if you're a bodybuilder, that might be true, but if you're training to improve your athletic performance, your sports performance, okay, that is not the case, okay? So using our legs while we bench press, it not only helps us create that stability, which was our first tip, specifically with our feet, okay, but creating that tension throughout the full body is going to help us feel a lot stronger and ultimately bench more weight, okay? Now, as I lay back here, when we set our feet, okay, the easiest way to tell if you have tension throughout your legs is having someone come up and just grab your knee and try to move your leg, okay? Now, if you don't have enough tension or any tension at all in your legs, what it's going to look like is something like this, okay? Your legs are going to be able to move almost like jello here, okay? Now, this is not very strong for us, not a good strong position. So what we want to think about when we get set up, okay, so we set the feet. We set the feet. From here, we drive off of the head. We pinch our shoulder blades. We rotate. We establish the whole backside, okay? Now, when I'm pressing the bar up, okay, I have tension throughout my legs the whole time. So I'm squeezing my glutes, my hamstrings, my quads, okay, and I'm creating that tension. It's a subtle movement, but can tell, watch my legs here, okay? Rather than here, this is no tension. When I squeeze everything together, okay, I have a lot more strength here, okay? Now, I set the bar, or I pick the bar up, okay? We talk about bending the bar and engaging the lats, but while I'm lowering the bar, and especially while I'm driving the bar up, okay, I am driving off of the floor, okay? Now, there's a fine line here. We do want to avoid, for the most part, okay, having the hips come way up here, okay? This just turns it into a decline bench, which is a different exercise, okay? So depending on how strict your coach is or how strict you are, some people will say those reps don't count, okay? So we want to keep the butt on the bench, and an easy way to avoid that, those hips coming up, is instead of thinking about the hips driving straight up, think about driving the hips back towards the shoulders, okay? So one more time. Pick the bar up. I have tension in my legs. Again, look at my legs. This is no tension here. I drive off. This is tension, okay? I am driving off of the floor the whole time. I lower the bar, and as I press up, I want to think about driving my hips towards my shoulders. That is going to help you feel a lot stronger, and that is probably the most overlooked aspect of bench pressing, at least with training athletes, okay, that I've come across. So you create that tension throughout the legs, I promise you, you will automatically feel much stronger. All right, thank you guys for hanging out. If you are still here, I really appreciate it. If you could like the video, throw me a subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out. If there's any other movement tutorials that you're interested in, feel free to leave them down in the comments, and I will work on those, and we'll see you in the next one.